All right, then moving right into the town manager report.
Okay. For board, committee, and commission vacancies, there's one vacancy on the Agricultural Commission, one vacancy in the Architectural Preservation District Commission, one Board of Health vacancy, which is a joint appointment with the Board of Health until the next annual town election, one vacancy appointed by the town moderator for the Capital Planning Committee, one vacancy for the Conservation Commission, 3 vacancies for the Cultural Council, 2 associate vacancies for the Green Communities Committee, 2 vacancies on the Historical Commission that changed due to Mr. Passio's declining the appointment that the board made at the last meeting, so that went from 1 to 2 vacancies. 1 member at large vacancies for the Open Space Committee, 5 vacancies on the Personnel Committee, and 2 vacancies on the Sewer Commission, which is a joint appointment with the Sewer Commission until the next annual town election. Anyone interested in any of these positions can find the volunteer application form on the town website, return it to the select board's office, and if you have any questions on the roles and responsibilities, you can contact our office at 978-582-4130, extension 144. For employment opportunities with the town, we have the following positions: a 32-hour-a-week position for administrative assessing assistant, assistant to the sewer business manager, which is 19 hours a week, assessor data collector, which is 19 hours a week. This is a new position in fiscal 25. Conservation administrative assistant, which is 10 hours a week, and this is was a resignation we received the end of last week. The interim town manager, which is contractual, land use director, 40 hours a week, network administrator, 40 hours a week, public safety desk clerk, 40 hours a week, and seasonal cemetery laborer, when those hours vary. Information on each of these positions can be found on the website under job opportunities. For staffing updates, the Conservation Administrative Assistant, Stephanie Dondero, submitted her letter of resignation, and her last day will be August 1st. Stephanie gave her reason of leaving due to finding full-time employment, as the Conservation Administrative Assistant position is 10 hours a week, and she was working 3 part-time jobs. I have periodically checked in with Karen Chapman from our regional planning agency to see if they would be able to assist the town with staff from MRPC for the role of the planning director until the position is permanently filled. They had 2 planning vacancies at one time, and those were recently filled, so now they are fully staffed. And the assistant town manager, HR director, will be meeting with them to discuss our needs for temporary filling this role this week. The assistant town manager, HR director, and principal assessor have interviews scheduled for tomorrow for both the administrative assistant position and the data collector position. The assistant town manager, HR director, will be scheduling interviews for the network administrator position in August. The assistant town manager, HR director, has forwarded 8 qualified applicants to the DPW director and sewer business manager since this position was posted on May 2nd. To date, no interviews have been held due to ongoing issues the sewer business manager has been experiencing with Munis and the time needed to get demand bills out and regular commitment bills out in August. The person that we contacted for the inspector of weights and measures position turned down the offer for the position due to the amount that is paid for the position.
You said they're doing to be what?
For the amount that's paid, there's $3,500 paid annually for this position to do those inspections. We're waiting to hear back from the state on the cost for them to conduct these inspections. We anticipate hearing from them by next week. Update on request for proposals and invitation for bids. Bids for trash and recycling services are due July 24th. Bids for the library solar shade project are due July 31st. Proposals for Marshall Park designer services are due August 8th. And bids for the senior center roof project are due August 29th. The bid that is written for the senior center roof project, that the work, once it is awarded, will be done in 30 days. An update on 925 Mass Ave. As part of the Real Estate Technical Assistance Grant through Mass Development, BSC Group requested we put the relevant documents on the town website. This was done last week by our IT administrative assistant, Kara McCarthy, and it was placed as a subpage on the town manager's page. I've worked with the assessor's office to obtain names of appraisers that hold their certified general appraisal license required to appraise commercial real estate. Once this is conducted, the RFP can be put out to bid.
Moving on to public comment. The town manager, do you have a public comment tonight?
I do. Thank you. As tonight is my last select board meeting, I want to take this as an opportunity to say thank you to all the residents, business owners, select board members, past and present, our state delegation, past and present, and all the town and school staff, past and present, that I have had the privilege of working with and being your town manager for the last 7.5 years. Since making my announcement in June, I would equate my experience to the movie It's a Wonderful Life. Sometimes only the immediate issues at hand or crisis of the day are the perception of the impact you have. Thank you to everyone who's taken the time to send me letters, emails, text, phone calls, or have stopped by the office to say thank you. It has always been my intent to do what I can to make Lunenburg a better place to live, work, and visit. Whether this has been to support departments in their vision of growth, provide support resources for staff, address aging building needs, create partnerships with businesses and nonprofit organizations, apply for grants to lessen the burden on taxpayers, introduce policies and procedures that strengthen the organization, advocate for the needs of the community with our state representatives and senator, or simply act as a liaison to address the residents' need, I take this role very seriously and the responsibilities that come along with it. I believe there have been many successes, more successes than failures in my time here, and I also attribute that to the many committed residents on different organizations, committees and boards, and the dedicated staff we have that I've worked with that have made these successes possible. Since I began as town manager, we have implemented a long-term staffing plan for the police and fire departments by adding 6 full-time police officers and 6 full-time firefighter paramedics. Through a reorganization plan per the charter, a town facilities department was created with a facilities director and another facility staff position added. The position of assistant town manager, HR director was created, a part-time recreation director position was created, a part-time administrative assistant position was created, a part-time data collector position was created, a part-time council on meal site manager position, a part-time assistant council on aging outreach, part-time library assistant positions, part-time clerical position at the police department, seasonal cemetery labor positions, an assistant to the sewer business manager, part-time minute clerk positions, a part-time conservation administrative assistant, and we have incrementally increased for staff hours that were cut since 2008, the same as the school has done during the tenure of the superintendent, towards a long-term staffing plan. Yet there still is a long way to go and more progress to make for the next town manager. There also have been a number of capital improvements over the years, such as repainting of the town hall, remediation of mold and bird waste in the basement and attic at town hall, making the second floor ADA accessible, making the town hall ramp ADA compliant, repairing a portion of the roof at the adult activity center, the ADA pavilion at the adult activity center, the break room at the Ritter building, the design for the entrance of the ADA accessible and design for the replacement of the windows at the Ritter, the roof repair at the DPW, the replacement of the fuel pumps at the DPW, the hazardous removal at the old primary school and demolition of the building, the replacement of the carpet at the library and the public safety buildings, and all the work associated with getting 925 Mass Ave to the point where the town can be poised to sell and redevelop this property. Improvements also occurred at Wallace Park and in the town beach buildings in the last several years. There are many other projects that are not mentioned here that are in the planning stages or are being prepared to be put out to bid. For infrastructure, soon after I began in 2017, I worked with the DPW director on a complete streets policy for the board to adopt in order to become a complete streets community and be eligible for construction funding. New sidewalks, ADA ramps, and access path through the Upper Common were funded through this program. The Summer Street Improvement Project occurred during my time here. We applied for a small bridge program funding for both the Pleasant and Flat Hill bridges, and a request for fully funded for both. Again, many more projects for infrastructure done in my time here, and that was with the help of the department heads and support of the boards and committees involved. There are countless other things, big and small, that I am honored to be a part of making happen at my time here during Lunenburg, that I did not do these things alone. It took working with the Select Board, the Finance Committee, the Capital Planning Committee, other boards and committees, residents, the school, and many town department heads and staff over the years. To name everyone here would be impossible, as there have been hundreds. Each of you know who you are. Thank you. Now back to my reference of It's a Wonderful Life. Some may think my proudest accomplishment has been how far we have come on 925 Mass Ave. Well, this was the property I noticed that could be redeveloped, and instead of being eyesight in the downtown area, could be a gem. My proudest accomplishment are the relationships I have made, and the ones that will last beyond my time as your town manager. I do want to clear up some rumors I have heard. The board did not ask me to resign, nor did we meet in executive session to discuss anything related to my resignation. As with any relationship, trust is very important to me, and losing trust had a role in my decision. In the end, this is the best decision for me and my family. Lastly, I want to thank my family, my husband Jason, son Ryan, and daughter Ella. Without them, it would not be possible for me to do the job that I have done over the years. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Heather. Working with you has truly been a pleasure. You are one of the most hardworking and dedicated people I have ever worked with, and I truly mean that, and I want you to know you will absolutely be missed. So thank you so much, Heather.
I also want to thank Heather as she departs. I've gotten to work with Heather now for 5 years, and for 2 of them pretty closely as chair. Heather is a dedicated public servant, unquestionably so. She has found for our community hundreds of thousands of dollars in grants and other sources. She is well respected by her peers and colleagues in other communities. And Heather is one of, if not the best people that I know. Her and I have not always agreed on everything, but we have certainly agreed far more than we have not. We've leaned on each other during challenging times. And I want to acknowledge that over the last couple of months, it has been challenging. We've all heard rumors. Many of them, are not based in any sort of fact. But Heather, despite all this, finished with us incredibly strong. I think a lot of times when people decide to move on from a community, they kind of step back a little bit. And I think Heather instead leaned in, if that was even more possible, given the hours she worked. With plans, assisting the board in our transition to an interim, and really just laying the groundwork so that way someone else can come and pick it up. I think that, being a town manager for us has been part of the work of Heather's life. I also want to thank Heather's family, her son, her daughter, and her husband, Jason. They've made an incredible sacrifice for our benefit over these last 7.5 years. So Heather, thank you for all of your hard work for our community. It is very much so appreciated, and I sincerely wish you all the best.
Selectman Alonso, I see you have your hand raised.
I will hold off in case somebody else wants to speak first.
I'll be really quick because I wasn't sure if I'd be able to be here tonight, so Heather, I thanked you last week, but so I'll keep it brief, but I have a lot of respect for you. I want to thank you very much for your dedication, and I just want to wish you nothing but the best going forward.
Go ahead, Selectman Alonso.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't know where to start, first of all. I also did not know I was going to be here on this meeting, and because of the interim town manager issue, I'm attending from vacation. Everybody who's followed these meetings knows my position on Heather's performance. I have worked closely with her throughout my tenure here on the board, gotten to know her as a chair, as a member, as a fellow committee member, working with other committees, whether it's capital planning or others. And everything that everybody has said about her is absolutely true. There is not one decision she's made that did not have the best interest of the town at heart. It did not have the best interest of the citizens at heart. Hardest working, worked through vacations all the time, despite my counsel that she shouldn't. Worked as many hours through past her, her resignations instead of paring down. Again, worked just as hard to run through the finish line when most normal employees would not do that. And all of those I hold her in the highest regard. I also don't want to ruin her moment, but I have to say a but here. There gets to be a point when I can only hear so much. It's almost like Mr. Jeffries is sorry to see her go. The effusive praise he just laid on would indicate to people listening that he's sorry to see her go. But we all know, and I will say this out loud, that he is largely the reason why she is leaving, number one. He has created an environment of speaking things publicly, saying things privately that contradict each other, and create an environment that makes it impossible for her to do her job. As chair, before he stepped down, I had asked about the town manager's contract and when those renegotiations were going on, and he told me that as far as he's concerned, he was a no vote on renewing her contract anyway. This is before she resigned. He also contacted a fellow board member and asked if they would support a motion that he would raise to remove her from office. And yet we just heard the most effusive praise of her job with him doing this behind the scenes. I do not bring these to light with any pleasure, but it gets to be the point where enough is enough and people need to know what is actually going on. There is no reason that we should be losing our town manager. There is no reason she wanted to leave other than the environment became too hostile for her to be involved in. And that is the saddest fact of all. She has done an excellent job. I have not agreed with everything she's done. She is fully aware of that. And you know what? I've been very vocal about that openly in those times when I've disagreed with her. But the accomplishments that she just raised and the things she's been able to do, and yes, we have more to do, but everything she has done been done with integrity, has done with hard work and consensus with as many people as possible. And that, I hope, is what she is remembered for. But to see people throw praise when they are the reason why she's leaving is just something that I could not stomach any longer. And I'm sorry to ruin her exit here with that news, but I think people needed to hear that news. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Moving on to public comment from the public, Mr. Bowen.
I just want to start by saying, Heather, thank you very much for everything you've done. John Bowen, Jean Marie Price, 162 Highland Street. Don't worry, Mr. Alonso, we all know about Mr. Jeffries and Mr. Nizzolo climbing up the same fence. Thank you very much for clarifying that, because we know what that policy was for. My comment is on that policy that you have in town is actually a contract. You could ask any lawyer, your signatures are on it, you're agreeing to follow and abide in it, you've made a contract. That means that you're in breach of contract, changing of that policy based on what Ms. Emke said. Thank you, Ms. Emke, for bringing up the fact that Heather should be talking to the lawyer about that. Why? Because the select board, and as the select board, Heather can hire that lawyer to be able to put out a temporary restraining order, okay, on an emergency order, okay, which this action in this policy is actually a violation of, one, free speech. It's also a violation of ethics rules as well as open meeting law. The reality is, okay, is that when you are a public employee, your employer cannot regulate your speech, okay? It's regulated partially and only through the Ethics Commission. And therefore, enacting a policy, running a policy through without abiding in a policy can have court ramifications that you could get done in less than 5 days. And then, Mr. Alonso, thank you. Heather, you could say the things Mr. Alonso said. Because you know why? Mr. Alonso's an elected official, and guess what he can say? Way more than you can as an employee, and he just did that. And I commend you, Mr. Alonso, for that, for being clear-headed, and that is why I said he has a babysitter as the chairman of this committee, Mr. Nizzolo, and that babysitter is Mr. Jeffries, and Amanda Moore is nothing but a thumb in who's not here tonight. Is that because she has 3 babies she has to take care of? Now she wants to use AI so she doesn't have to do a lot of work. Well, reading minutes are a legal document. They all need to be in black, okay? It's a legal document, and it needs to be not interpreted by AI, okay, because it will not be accepted or suffer scrutiny by any court. I can guarantee it. So continue using your AI, continue acting in this manner, and you're going to see, because as a citizen, if I want to, I'll file a temporary restraining order against your little policy there, Mr. Nizzolo and Mr. Jeffries, and I can do that. Do you know why? Because I'll accuse you myself of breach of contract, and if you think I can't pro se that on my own, read all the cases that I have run through court pro se and how many I've won. Just go on masscourts.org and start Googling. You understand? That's all I have to say. Thank you very much for your time. And Heather, thank you, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you, Mr. Bowen. Mr. McDonald. You're muted if you're talking right now.
Sorry about that.
All right, we
Can
can
you hear
hear
me?
you. Yep.
I just want to say I have to agree with the last couple of talkers. One of the things is that, Mr. Chair, I lost some respect for you tonight. I thought you had integrity. You serve our country, and you do it well. But you have to look what's going around. You are being manipulated, and that's what bothers me. You're being manipulated. This town has been manipulated. And it's almost to a point where it's a joke. And when you have a chair who's been on the board for the last 2 years that did nothing but interfere with other departments, that tells you something right there. And Heather, it's a shame you're leaving. And like I said to you in person, I wish you would reconsider. But it's gone too far. So, Mr. Jeffries, as far as I'm concerned, you can leave anytime. No one's holding you here. And I just want to say to you, Mr. Jeffries, I think your 3 minutes are up. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. McDonald. Are there any other public comments? PM, and we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight, and we will be back here August 6th. Have a good night, everyone.